Stop chasing. Stop begging for attention. If you were told that all you need to do to win a woman's heart is to be nice or to show your vulnerability, then you have been deceived until now. The reason you are failing in dating is because you are following weak rules created by modern romance. From this point on, I will show you a cold but certain strategy that the most powerful men in history understood. This is not simple dating advice. This is a story about psychological influence and power. These rules were written by Niccolo Machiavelli. He was a master strategist who understood exactly how much people desire what they cannot easily have. He wrote about princes and power, but the darkest secrets he left behind apply with chilling accuracy to attraction between men and women. Over the next few minutes, I will reveal his 5 hidden laws that can instantly reverse the flow of power. You will learn why a little distance makes you an irresistible man, and why having the courage to disappoint a woman is the key to earning her deepest respect. Are you ready to face the uncomfortable truth about what truly ignites a woman's desire? And if you are ready to make her not just want you, but crave your very presence, do not take your eyes off the screen. The time of judgment has come. Machiavelli knew a truth that is still valid today. Value comes from scarcity. If something is everywhere and always available, it loses importance. It becomes ordinary, taken for granted, and eventually ignored. Think about air. Air is everywhere around us. We need it to live, but because it is always there, we barely feel its value. Now think about gold. Gold is rare and difficult to obtain, which is why it is considered precious. People spend their entire lives searching for it, protecting it, and worshipping it. The same applies to relationships between men and women. The principle of scarcity can completely change how a man is perceived. Most men, without realizing it, become like air in a woman's life. They always have too much time, they are always waiting, and they respond too quickly. They reply to her messages within seconds, cancel their own plans just for her, and reveal everything about themselves with no sense of mystery. At first, this constant presence may feel comforting, but over time it becomes predictable, ordinary, and even boring. The human brain does not assign value to what is always there. The excitement disappears. A strategist who understands human nature does not make this mistake. He applies the law of scarcity and turns himself into gold instead of sand. Sand is everywhere. No one considers sand a treasure, but gold is rare, and that is why everyone treats it as precious. A man becomes gold by showing that his time, energy, and presence are not given away thoughtlessly. They have value. This is not about childish push-and-pull games. It is not about pretending to be busy or deliberately ignoring a woman to make her chase you. This is about living a life with real purpose. A man with a mission, passion, career, or firm personal goals naturally becomes scarce. His life is full of objectives and responsibilities, so he cannot be endlessly available at every moment. This does not make him cold. It makes him disciplined and selective. When such a man is with a woman, he is fully present. He gives her his full attention. He listens. He makes her feel important, and by being deeply engaged in that moment, he shows his strength. But because he has an intense life outside of her, she knows that time with him is limited. This is where the psychological magic of scarcity happens. His absence creates a powerful emotional response, the fear of loss. This fear is not about jealousy or worrying that he might cheat. It is much deeper and more subtle. It is the quiet realization that continued access to this man's extraordinary life is not guaranteed. His time is not infinite, and his focus is not always on her. Time with him could decrease or disappear entirely. She begins to feel his presence not as a right, but as a gift or privilege that must be earned and protected. From this point on, her behavior starts to change. She puts in more effort to keep him close. She thinks more carefully about how she uses the time she has with him. Instead of expecting him to adjust his life around her, she begins to plan around his life. Without him saying a single word, she starts to see him as a man worth working for, worth protecting, and worth adjusting her life to have. The power of scarcity lies in contrast. If a man is always available, his presence loses its shine. But if he balances attention and absence, he creates an emotional rhythm. He is fully present, then steps away to pursue his purpose. This rhythm makes short moments with him feel far more valuable than long, empty stretches of time with someone else. Just as a rare jewel is admired every time it is seen, a man who makes himself scarce in the right way has the same effect. The key is balance. Too much absence makes you seem cold or uninterested. Too much presence makes you risk being taken for granted. The correct strategy is to show that you care deeply, but that your life does not revolve around her. He is a man with a mission, and therefore his presence carries weight. His attention is like sunlight breaking through clouds, rare, powerful, and unforgettable. This dynamic awakens a woman's instinct to chase. She is drawn to a man who values himself and his goals, not one who clings desperately to her attention. She respects him more because she knows he is not ruled by emotional hunger or constant neediness. She wants to become a woman worthy of his value. She wants more of his time. She feels compelled to rise to the standards set by a man who lives with purpose. This is why the strategy of scarcity is timeless. It is not deception or manipulation. It is building a life that naturally makes you valuable. A man who is scarce in the right way shows that his time matters, his presence has meaning, and his mission is greater than momentary pleasure. And for that very reason, a woman feels that being with him is not ordinary, but special, rare, and worth fighting for. Machiavelli once said that it is safer for a leader to be feared than loved. When this idea is brought into the world of attraction and dating, its meaning changes. It does not mean that a man should be cruel or unkind without reason. It means that a man should not be afraid to disappoint a woman if it is necessary to protect his values, his time, and the direction of his life. This is not cruelty. It is the strength to hold your position even when it feels easier to give in. Most men do the opposite. The average man is terrified of upsetting a woman. He wants to be loved so badly that he says yes even when he wants to say no. He sacrifices his plans, his goals, and even his sense of self just to avoid conflict. He believes that if he always pleases her, she will love him more. But the opposite happens. A man who cannot say no, a man desperate to please, quickly loses respect. And where there is no respect, true attraction cannot exist. What remains is, at best, pity, and more often irritation or boredom. The strategist understands something deeper. Attraction does not come from how much you agree or how much you sacrifice. Attraction comes from respect, and respect is born when a man shows that he does not waver from his path. He is not moved by pressure, guilt, or fear of disapproval. This is what sets him apart. He has boundaries, and he defends them without apology. Imagine she sends an emotional message late at night, full of drama or demands. A people-pleasing man will rush to comfort her, even if he has important work or needs rest. The strategist responds calmly but firmly, making it clear that work or sleep comes first, and he cannot talk right now. He does not do this with anger or cruelty. He simply shows that his time has value and will not be reshaped every time her emotions spike. Or imagine she asks you to skip your workout to watch a movie together. A man with a nice guy mindset will give in to make her happy. Over time, she learns that his commitments mean nothing, that his health, discipline, and goals can be erased with a little pressure. The strategist does not bend so easily. He calmly says that his training is important and not negotiable. He will go to the gym, and they can watch the movie afterward. She may pout. She may feel disappointed in that moment. But deep down she feels something far more important: respect. This kind of firmness can feel cold because it includes rejection and disappointment. But it is not true cruelty. It is calculated and restrained. It is done not to hurt her, but to protect your integrity and mission. Without this ability, a man becomes weak, and weakness destroys attraction. When you stand firm, the change that happens in her mind is subtle, but powerful. At first, you may feel frustrated because she cannot control you. Then a shift occurs. She realizes you are not a man who can be manipulated by emotion, pressure, or guilt. She begins to see you as a stable point in a chaotic world, a rare man who cannot be bought with approval or shaken by blame. This changes everything. Instead of seeing you as another nice man who exists to make her comfortable, she begins to see you as a leader, a man with his own world. She understands that if she wants to be part of your life, she must respect your rules, values, and boundaries. This is where attraction deepens. It is no longer shallow charm or temporary excitement. It becomes respect mixed with desire, the kind of attraction that makes her trust you, admire you, and crave your presence. This is the true meaning of dominance in a relationship. It is not shouting or forcing. It is not cruelty for the sake of power. It is dominance through emotional independence. When a man shows that he does not need her approval at every moment, when he shows that he will not betray himself just to make her happy, he becomes impossible to ignore. He becomes a challenge, a mystery, and above all, a man she respects. This is why women test men. Consciously or unconsciously, they create situations to pull you off your path. They want to see if you will remain strong. If you collapse, if you bend too easily, their interest fades. But if you stand firm, even at the cost of temporary disappointment, they feel something far more valuable: safety. A woman feels safe when she knows a man will not break under pressure, because that means he can also protect her from the outside world. Calculated coldness is not unkindness. It is the strength to not lose yourself, even when it costs momentary comfort. A woman may dislike it in the moment, but she will respect it forever. And respect is the root of lasting attraction. It is better for her to call you stubborn than to secretly see you as weak. Better to frustrate her sometimes than to be invisible in her memory. When you live this way, you are no longer ruled by fear of her reactions. You are not a prisoner of her moods. You live by your standards and invite her into that world. Some women will leave because they cannot handle strength, but the right woman, the one who values strength, will stay and show her best self. She will respect you not because you bent for her, but because you stood firm. The man who always tried to be nice will fade from her memory. The man who remains solid in uncomfortable moments will not be forgotten. That is the virtue of calculated coldness. Machiavelli explained that a ruler does not need to truly possess every virtue at all times, but must always appear to possess them in the eyes of the people. A king does not need to be endlessly generous or brave in every moment, but he must seem that way to his subjects. If people believe the image, the illusion becomes powerful enough to command loyalty. This principle applies just as strongly to attraction between men and women. What is perceived can be more powerful than what actually exists. This does not mean lying or deceiving. It means understanding that mystery, perception, and conduct matter more than long explanations or verbal proof. Many men make the same mistake. They think they must tell a woman about all their achievements to seem attractive. They talk endlessly about their job, income, car, and travels. Some try to be the funniest person in the room, constantly joking to get attention. What this really communicates is emotional hunger. It shows fear of being overlooked without constant talking and approval. Instead of confidence, it shows insecurity. Instead of power, it looks like begging for validation. The wise strategist chooses a different path. He understands that attraction is not built through long speeches. Attraction is a story, and a woman is a reader who wants to turn the next page. If the entire story is revealed at once, there is no tension and no reason to continue. Mystery dies, but if the story unfolds slowly, through hints and fragments, she becomes absorbed. She wants to know what happens next. She starts imagining what lies between the lines. In this way, a man becomes more than a conversation partner. He becomes someone she cannot stop thinking about. Instead of saying how much money he makes or what he owns, a man can briefly speak about his vision for the future. Not what he has today, but what he is building for tomorrow. He can share his excitement about a project, a dream, or a life he wants to create. These words spark imagination. She begins to see him not as a man stuck in the present, but as a man full of potential, moving towards something greater. Actions are even more powerful than words. A man does not need to claim he is driven or ambitious. He simply shows it. When he leaves a gathering early to work on something meaningful, or ends a casual date because he has responsibilities to honor, the message is clear. He is not desperate for endless social approval. He has a mission that pulls him forward. This silent proof of discipline and vision speaks louder than any self-praise. An aura begins to form around him. The aura of a man with depth, a man not fully revealed. This aura does not come from pretending. It comes from restraint, from not exposing everything at once, from keeping mystery alive. A woman feels there is more to him than what she can see. She wants to discover it. Curiosity awakens, and curiosity is powerful fuel for attraction. When a man reveals too much and explains every detail of his life, there is no room for imagination. The story ends before it begins. But when he allows only glimpses, when he shows fragments pointing to something greater, he creates suspense. Suspense draws her in emotionally. She thinks about him when he is not there. She wonders about what he did not say, about the parts of him still hidden. He becomes a puzzle she wants to solve. Attraction is not just about physical beauty or material possessions. It is about the emotional journey a man creates in a woman's mind. He does not become captivating by talking more, but by igniting her imagination. She is no longer just interested in seeing him casually. She becomes invested in discovering who he really is, where his life is going, and how the story he hinted at will end. A man does not need to present himself as complete in every moment. He does not need to prove his value in every conversation. He only needs to appear as a man with vision, purpose, and hidden depth. He lets silence speak. He proves himself through action, and he allows curiosity to grow in her mind. In doing so, she becomes not just interested, but drawn in, bound by the desire to uncover the mystery of who he truly is and where he is going. Most men make another critical mistake in relationships. They become too easy to read. Their emotions, attention, and energy are completely predictable. A man who gives all of his love, time, focus, and attention immediately, without rhythm or variation, quickly becomes boring. At first, this may feel comforting to a woman, but soon it removes all excitement, tension, and mystery from the relationship. She knows exactly what he will say, what he will do, and how he will react. With no element of surprise, her emotional engagement slowly fades. Human desire feeds on contrast. We appreciate light because we know darkness. We value warmth because we have felt cold. If a man is always available, always ready, always giving the same energy, there is no contrast. Without contrast, the mind becomes bored. This is why men who are overly nice or overly devoted are often taken for granted. They confuse consistency with attraction and forget that what keeps emotions alive is not routine, but rhythm and change. This is where the psychological pendulum comes in. A pendulum swings back and forth. The strategist understands how to create this movement in a woman's emotional world. He does not give all his warmth at once, nor does he disappear completely. He introduces a dynamic flow, moments of deep connection, intimacy, and openness, followed by periods of distance, solitude, and focus on himself. This is not cruelty. It is not manipulation. It is the art of emotional contrast. When a man gives warmth, love, and attention in a concentrated way, her heart lights up. She feels chosen, desired, and important. These moments are intense and meaningful, so she cherishes them. But when he then turns his focus back to his path, his work, his ambition, and his solitude, she feels the absence. At first, it is uncomfortable. She wonders where he is and why he is not giving the same attention. But as she reflects, she remembers the connection they shared. She replays those moments in her mind. Absence does not kill attraction. It strengthens it. She begins to crave the next moment of closeness because she has learned it is not guaranteed. This works because it is rooted in one of the deepest principles of human psychology, intermittent reinforcement. When rewards are predictable, they lose power, but when rewards come unpredictably, the brain becomes engaged and hungry for more. This is the same principle that makes people addicted to games, gambling, and social media. Uncertainty creates engagement. In relationships, it works the same way. If a man always gives full attention, she stops valuing it. But if sometimes he is deeply present and affectionate, and other times focused on his own life, she learns to value those moments when he chooses her. She never feels completely secure, but she never feels abandoned either. This balance keeps her emotionally invested, thinking about him, wondering when the next wave of warmth will arrive. This is not about punishing a woman with silence or disappearing to create anxiety. That is emotional abuse and destroys trust. The pendulum is not about fear, but contrast. A man living with purpose naturally creates this rhythm. When he is with her, he is fully present. When he is away, he is living his life, pursuing his mission, and honoring his solitude. Women secretly crave this rhythm because it awakens their emotions. The pauses make the highs feel higher, the breaks make the warmth feel warmer. She learns that his attention is precious, not endless, and this makes her respect it more. Her emotional world begins to revolve around him. She anticipates his presence, cherishes his affection, and thinks about him even in his absence. This is the essence of the pendulum. It keeps her engaged, alive, and emotionally involved. The average man tries to make her happy by giving constantly. The wise man understands that happiness and attraction come from thoughtful rhythm. Just as music is not noise, but a dance between sound and silence, attraction is not constant attention, but the interplay between presence and absence. A man who understands this becomes unforgettable. He is not predictable, he is dynamic, and within his rhythm she finds irresistible tension, excitement, and emotional depth. There is a quiet but powerful truth in human relationships that most men completely overlook. The person who gives the most is not always the one who is valued the most. Often it is the opposite. Machiavelli observed that people feel deeper loyalty and obligation toward those they invest in, rather than those who constantly give to them. This is because of a simple psychological law. People value what they invest in. Think about it. Something you buy with your own money feels more valuable than something you receive for free. A goal you work hard for means more than a result handed to you without effort. The same principle applies to emotional connections between men and women. When a woman invests her time, energy, care, creativity, or emotional effort into you, she begins to feel a strong attachment. The more she invests, the more she wants the connection to continue. She stops seeing you as just a man she likes and starts seeing you as part of herself because her effort and emotions are tied to you. Most men do the opposite. From the beginning, they give everything. They shower her with gifts, constant compliments, endless attention, and all their energy. They believe generosity will buy love. In reality, it only makes them seem desperate. It communicates that their time and energy have little value and that they are begging for approval. Instead of winning her heart, they overwhelm her and lower their perceived worth. She may enjoy the attention briefly, but she does not feel invested. She has given nothing, so she feels no obligation to stay. The strategist understands this principle deeply. He knows true influence comes not from how much you give, but from how much you inspire her to give. He creates opportunities for her to invest in him, not through pressure or demands, but through meaningful connection. It can be as simple as asking for her opinion on a decision, inviting her to help with something important, or encouraging her to contribute creatively to his projects. When she cooks for him, plans something together, or spends time helping him, she is not just expressing affection, she is tying herself to him. This process is deeply psychological. When a woman invests effort into a man, her mind begins to justify that effort. She tells herself that if she is doing so much for him, he must be worth it. Without realizing it, she starts protecting the investment she has made. She becomes more loyal, not because he begged for it, but because she built it with her own actions. This is why the strategist does not rush to prove himself or drown her in attention. Instead, he allows her the satisfaction of proving her value to him. He gives her the chance to show commitment, creativity, and emotional effort. With every contribution she makes, the bond grows stronger. She is no longer chasing him. She is chasing the continuation of her own investment. Soon, she stops asking whether he likes her enough. Instead, she asks how she can secure her place in his future. Her heart develops a sense of obligation, not because he demanded it, but because she voluntarily bound herself through her actions. The more she gives, the more she wants to give. The more she invests, the more she wants to protect that investment. This creates a cycle of loyalty far stronger than any promise or words. This is the decisive psychological strike. Most men beg for affection. Wise men create the space where affection grows naturally. Most men try to prove their value by giving everything. The strategist knows that when she invests in him, she is proving his value to herself. That is the hidden power behind creating obligation. These 5 laws are cold, but they are timeless mechanisms of human desire. They require you to stop seeking approval and start commanding attention through purpose, strength, and clear boundaries. You must become a man whose life is so compelling, whose presence is so powerful, and whose standards are so firm that simply being allowed into your orbit feels like the greatest reward. This is the essence of strategic seduction. Now the question is this: will you reject these uncomfortable truths and stay where you are, or do you have the courage to master this new strategy? If you are ready to stop chasing and start dominating, this is your moment. Show your commitment to power by liking this video, subscribe, and join the men who chose strategy over weakness. And in the comments below, say which of these 5 laws you need to apply right now to change your dating life. Your strategy begins now.